Hi everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome in. Hi Justin. Hi Lady Rose. Hi Lola. Hi Vampy. Welcome in everybody. Hi Ange. Hi Kim. Hi Anna. Hi Lily. Hi Mary. Hi Lacey. Hi Lisa. Hi Diamante. Hey Lorna. Kim, I love that. You're so cute. Hi Sparkle Tree. Oh, that's okay. You were missed, but I hope you feel better now. Diamante, I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I don't know. It's a good question. Oh no, Lulu. Hi, Bubs. JK, so glad you're here. Missed you. James, there's already 2 stories I noticed are missing on there. The Detour, which is the Mothman story, and then the Reanimator, which is an Are You Afraid of the Dark story. So it's missing too. But I'll have to update it all the time. That's why I don't know how to keep a list going, because every week there's going to be a new story added to it. Oh, thank you, Carol. Oh my God, Carol, you're so cute. Blind as a bat. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome in. 82 years young is correct. I'm honored to have you in here with me, Carol. Thank you. Welcome to the porch. By the way, James, if you check out the merch, I think you'll see something you've been asking for. There's a Hug and Molly print. I finally made a framed print for Hug and Molly. And if you would like to check out the merch, it's just type in porchlore.store. And also all the links are in my bio on TT. James, I hope you like it, because I had to redo her. I told you that because she was one of the first stories I did, and I did her on some free random AI thing, and I can't resize it, and it's not very pixelated properly, so I had to redo her. So I hope you like it. JK, they were? Which ones? Hi, April. Wait, Sparkle Tree. Are you from TT? Your name is Mandy on Discord. Okay, yay, Sparkle. That's so funny. Hi, CJ. I have actually always been a fan of Short King, so I don't know why you wouldn't want to be. Yeah, I was right, Mary. I was literally engaged to a Short King. Did I already tell you I made the bucket hat? Oh yeah, I think I did yesterday, right? You love it, James? Okay, good. I thought you would like it. And I'm probably going to format that for the live tomorrow and use that one for the live readings from now on. JK says, my man is a Short King. That's right. That's what stepladders are for, CJ. I'd like to be able to reach a lot of things. You know? All right. Anybody else have requests? You can put them in the chat in all capital letters so I can catch them as story requests. And I will start setting up the first poll for us to vote. Hi, Savannah. Okay, Glossette, thanks. Anna says, I don't have a man, but I'm sure. I don't have a man either, girl. I don't really want one, to be honest. Wait, Lily, you're 4'8"? Shut up. No way. I love that. Yeah, Robin, you're right. The newest one? Okay. You've got it. Is it Drakens? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Aaron. Yeah, Lily, I got him. Thank you. Wait, Lily, what was your other one? I only saw the Appalachian Trail Ghost Hikers. What do you mean, and start a new list? I love how Ash always comes in and writes Mothman, Goatman, Devin. Like I'm a cryptid. Hi, Shells. Okay. Thanks, Kim. Lovely said we love a scrumptious short king. Okay, Carol, I'll call you Grandma C. That's no problem. At 82, I think you've earned to be called whatever the hell you want. Yeah, I haven't started the poll yet, don't worry. Hi, Glenda. Oh, thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. All right. Hi, Chance. Thanks for the hand hearts and the sing together. Also, thank you for the cozy cryptids, everybody. Hi, Joker. Thank you for the finger hearts and for the hanging lights. JK, thanks for the rockin' mushroom. And Joker, thank you for the drumming hamster. I can't believe I missed it. I'm so sorry. I love that one. Hi, A username. Thank you for the cozy cryptids. All right, you guys. Hi, Zoe. All right, you guys. I'm going to set up the first poll so we can vote on the first story. And if you guys could do me a big favor, could you hit that share arrow in the bottom right hand corner? And there is a yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs. And it helps us grow our beautiful porch. Hi, Red Brat. Hi, Mother V. Hi, Gotham. Hi, FKI. Thanks for the follow, Country 40. Welcome to the porch. All right, I'll be right back with the first poll, guys. Sit back and relax. Grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, and welcome to the porch. All right, you guys. The poll is ready. And if you are on TT, which is TikTok, you can vote. I'm sorry for the other people on the other ones. I'm not sure how to do it yet for there. But if you let us know what you want, we will help. Justin's offering to vote for whoever wants their story voted for. And so feel free to send in your votes. The choices are the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Thanks, Kim. You're so sweet. And Kim's voting for the people on T-Witch. You're so sweet. The Fresno Nightcrawlers, the Rain Crow Shelter, La Lechuza, Devil's Tramping Ground, and the Reanimator. Once again, it's Fresno Nightcrawlers, the Rain Crow Shelter, La Lechuza, the Devil's Tramping Ground, and the Reanimator. And if you're on TT, you can vote in the blue box in the top left-hand corner. It lasts 2 minutes, and you can vote up to 50 times a person, and you can vote for more than one story. And to vote, just click on the blue box in the top left-hand corner, and it hides under that pink banner, but it is there. And don't worry, Kim, I'll put Mothman on the next poll. And yes, the Nightcrawlers is the newest story. The first option is the newest story. And the last option is an Are You Afraid of the Dark reworking. Hi, April. All right, and the winner is the Devil's Tramping Ground. Oh, Louisiana, thank you for your first gift ever. That's so kind. Okay, guys, I will be right back with the tale of the Devil's Tramping Ground. And if you are new here, welcome in. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. I'm here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. And if if you like these stories, I do write and record them all myself, and you can listen to them anytime you would like on my YT channel, as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. Also, now the live recordings are also available over on my YT. So you can relive the joy of the live anytime you want. You can listen to me talk to myself because you won't be able to see the live chat. All right, I will be right back with the tale of the Devil's Tramping Ground. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the Devil's Tramping Ground. Some places whisper their strangeness. Others wear it openly, daring you to come closer to test the truth of their legends. I heard of one such place my entire life, tucked away in the woods of North Carolina. A barren circle called the Devil's Tramping Ground. It's not much to look at in photographs, just a patch of earth about 40 feet across, where no grass grows, no flowers bloom, and no trees dare to take root. But the stories woven around it go back centuries. They say the devil himself walks the circle at night, wearing down the soil with his restless pacing as he plots the world's miseries. Others whisper it's a portal, a wound in the earth where something older seeps through. I'd filed it away in the back of my mind for years. One of those curious oddities you tell at campfires. But as autumn deepened and my appetite for the strange stirred again, the place called to me. Maybe it was the simplicity of it. Unlike most legends, this one wasn't about a hidden ruin or a hard-to-find cave. It was just a circle, right there in the open, stubbornly bare in the middle of a living forest. But that was enough. I packed my gear, drove south, and I set my course for the woods near Bear Creek, North Carolina, where the locals said the circle still waited. The road wound narrower the closer I got, asphalt giving way to gravel, then to dirt packed hard by decades of tires. Pines crowded thick on either side, their needles scattering across the hood of my car. A thin drizzle began to fall, streaking the windshield and making the world outside look hazy and softened. I parked at the edge of a clearing, killed the engine, and I listened. The forest was quiet in that heavy, watchful way it sometimes gets before a storm. I shouldered my pack and followed the faint path that led deeper into the trees. The air smelled sharp with pine and damp earth. Every step carried me further into silence, as though the woods themselves were holding their breath. And then, suddenly, there it was. The circle. It stopped me in my tracks. Photographs had never done it justice. The patch of earth lay before me like a wound, raw and bare, perfectly round. The soil was sandy, reddish, stripped of life. Around its edge, the forest pressed thick, trees growing right up to the boundary, but not one root daring to trespass. And the strangest part, it wasn't just that nothing grew there. It was that the circle seemed to resist everything that belonged to the world around it. No birds flew over it, no insects buzzed around it. Even the air inside it felt lighter. That was so cute, Spiker Mom. Thanks. I dropped my pack at the edge, crouched, and I ran my fingers through the soil. It was cool and fine. Like ash, but no seeds sprouted within it. The stories were true. Something held this place sterile. I set up camp a short distance away, just beyond the tree line, where the ground was soft with pine needles. I had decided that I would spend the night there, in sight of the circle, to see if the legends of the devil's nightly pacing held any truth. The hours passed slowly, and twilight settled in, painting the woods in long shadows. I cooked a small meal on my camp stove, and the smell of it was oddly intrusive in such a barren place. As the last light faded, I felt the absence deepen, as though the circle itself grew stronger with nightfall. By the time full dark arrived, the drizzle had grown into a steady rain. I pulled my tarp tight, listening to the patter overhead, and I let my eyes rest on the circle just beyond the fire's glow. That's when the stories came back to me, sharper now. The local Chatham County people had long whispered that the circle was cursed. Some said a great battle had been fought there centuries ago, and the blood of warriors soaked into the soil until nothing would grow. Others said it was a place where witches gathered. The Abenaki had their own stories of fire spirits, beings who came from the stars, leaving behind burned patches of earth where they danced. But the most common story, the one that earned it its name, was that the devil himself comes here at night. That he walks the circle endlessly, trampling away any green shoot that dared emerge, plotting humanity's downfall. I didn't really believe that, not literally at least. But I believed in places with power, places where something happened so intense or so strange that it warped the energy of the land itself. And as midnight drew near, I began to wonder if I had maybe underestimated this one. The rain stopped abruptly, like a switch had been thrown. The forest went deathly still. I leaned forward, every nerve alert. And then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, and steady. They were in the circle, and the sound was unmistakable. The dull press of a heel into bare soil, and then the lift, and then another step. I froze, my breath shallow. My fire had burned low, casting only the weakest light, but the circle was still visible. I saw nothing, yet the footsteps continued, pacing steadily around the circle's inner edge. My heart hammered. I wanted to speak, I wanted to break the silence, but something inside me warned against it. The steps went on like that for what felt like hours. At times they quickened into a restless trot. Other times they slowed until I thought they had stopped entirely, only for the sound to resume again, directly opposite, but always within the circle. I couldn't see a thing, but I could hear it clearly. And then when the last step landed, silence followed. I don't know what I expected, a flash of lightning, a form revealing itself, but nothing. But then I saw a glow. It started as the faintest shimmer, no brighter than heat rising. Then it thickened, coiling upward from the soil, pale and colorless, yet searing against the darkness of the night. It twisted into a column that stretched higher than the treetops. And within it, I thought I saw shapes. Not a man, not anything human, but something like an outline shifting faster than my eyes could catch. I stumbled back, my boots sinking in the mud, every instinct screaming to run. But my legs refused to move. The sound came next. It was a low rumbling, like stone splitting under pressure. The circle wasn't barren because of the devil, or because of some old curse. It was barren because this thing, whatever it was, required it. It needed this space to cross into our world. I don't remember finally moving, but suddenly I was back near the trees, my pack clutched in my shaking hands. That glow remained for a few moments more, then it flickered and collapsed. The footsteps never returned. I didn't sleep at all that night. At the first sign of dawn, I tore down camp and I fled. My boots never once crossing the boundary of that circle. Now, even months later, I can still feel that presence when I close my eyes. People like to tell stories about the devil's tramping ground because the name is easy, because it makes for a neat warning. But I know better. Whatever walks that circle isn't the devil. It's something much older. And it's still pacing, waiting, wearing down the soil night after night, just waiting for someone foolish enough to step inside. And that's the tale of the devil's tramping ground. Welcome in, everybody. Give me a minute and I'm going to set up the next poll for us to vote. Give me 1 second. Also, while I'm setting up this poll for the next story, feel free to do me a big favor and hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner. And there is a yellow circle that says repost with 2 arrows chasing each other. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs. Aw, Tank, thanks. And I will be right back with this poll. Okay, guys, the next poll is ready. We have the Mothman, the Selkies, La Lechuza, the Hitchhiker, and the Carnival. And you can vote if you're on TT in the blue box in the top left-hand corner. And you can vote up to 50 times a person, and you can vote for more than one story. We have the Mothman, we have the Selkies, we have La Lechuza, the Hitchhiker, and the Carnival. Who's it gonna be? The Selkies are losers today. No votes at all. Poor Selkies. And the winner is La Lechuza. She is also one of the iconic cryptids in the Cryptid Arcana merch collection that I have. And she is the High Priestess. Yeah, I saw that, James. That was so funny. Hi, Trisha. Hi, cutie. All right, you guys. Welcome to the porch. If you're new here, welcome in. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. and I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. Grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock. Thank you for the hand hearts username. And sit back and relax and imagine that you are back in the days of Snick. And are you afraid of the dark? Thank you for the level up cake, Michelle, and the Midnight Society. But instead, we're the Porch Bell Society. And you can forget about all the stress of today's world and just sit back and relax a little bit with us on the porch. Forget about those problems. And if you feel like sharing out the live to your friends who could maybe also use a relaxing way to fall asleep, I would be forever grateful. It helps us grow our beautiful porch. And I will be right back with the tale of La Lechuza. Thank you for the bubbles, Millie. And Trish, thank you for the tiny dandelion and the night star. Thank you. Oh, and the kitten eating. You're a nurse if you say knock shifts. You're a nurse if you say knock. Because guess what? 2 of my best friends, the twins from the cave story, are also knock nurses. And they call it that, and they taught me that. Happy Nurses Day, by the way. Thank you, JK. Thank you, Rochelle. Welcome in. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Gigi. Oh, did you, Rochelle? That's so sweet. You're so cute. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Carmen. Hi, Lisa. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of La Lechuza. Oh my God, Lauren, that was so cute. What was that? It's called Fairy Hide, but it was like, what was that? That was not a fairy. That was so cute. This is the tale of La Lechuza. I got distracted by the chubby, cute floating thing. I never understood why the desert around El Paso felt heavier at night than any forest I'd ever camped in. There was something about the wide open spaces, the way heat clung to the ground long after sunset. And when I came to visit my friend Paulo, I expected our weekend to be full of margaritas and food trucks, maybe a tour across the border to see some markets. I didn't expect to walk straight into one of the oldest and most terrifying pieces of Mexican folklore that I've ever read about. It started the first night I arrived, though I didn't really recognize it then. Paulo had insisted that I stay with her instead of some downtown hotel. And her little adobe house sat right at the edge of the Franklin Mountains. The sky out there stretched wider than my entire sense of scale. A solid sheet of indigo, with only the lights of Juarez flickering on the horizon like a thin, trembling constellation. Paulo warned me that the mountains could get loud at night, with the wind rattling through the mesquite and the coyotes yipping in the distance. But nothing about her tone suggested that anything out there should frighten me. But still, that first night, I couldn't sleep. Thank you, JJ. I remember lying there, blinking up at the ceiling fan when I heard it. The faintest scrape against the stucco wall outside. I told myself it was probably a branch or maybe an animal rooting around in the gravel. But something about the rhythm felt off. I held my breath and I waited. A moment later, a second, sharper scrape cut through the silence. I sat up slowly, telling myself not to be scared. But then a third sound, a soft, muffled thud, hit the wall, and the floorboards seemed to vibrate beneath my feet. I swung my legs out of the bed and I tiptoed to the window. lifting the edge of the curtain just enough to peek outside. The yard was empty. The moon hung low over the mountains, its pale glow stretching across the dust like it washed out painting. Nothing moved, yet the sensation that something had been there, something big, clung to me like static. Some part of me knew that scrape hadn't been a branch. The next morning, Paulo greeted me with her usual warmth, completely unaware that anything strange happened while she slept. I didn't mention the noises. I didn't want to sound paranoid. Instead, we spent the day exploring downtown El Paso. I let the sunlight and the bustling streets distract me. We wandered past murals exploding with color, browsed through markets selling glass-eyed milagros and handmade dolls, and ate food so good it made my eyes water. And for a while, I forgot about the scraping. But the desert doesn't let you forget anything for too long. Later that afternoon, just before sunset, Paulo suggested we take a drive past the outskirts toward the old Mission Trail. She said she wanted to show me something beautiful, the desert when it softened. When the sky burned pink and the acatillos looked like skeletal torches. As we headed east, the neighborhoods thinned into stretches of open land. Abandoned buildings dotted the horizon, remnants of ranches long surrendered to time. The mountains glowed copper in the fading sun, and the desert wind hummed low through the brush. Everything seemed perfect until the birds stopped. It's easy to not really notice birds until they all go completely silent. 1 minute, I could hear the distant trilling, the flutter of wings somewhere overhead. And then everything sank into a stillness so sudden, it prickled every inch of my skin. Even Paulo paused, her hand tightening on the steering wheel as she glanced over at me. And then came the shape. At first, I thought it was a hawk. A large one, bigger than any I'd ever seen, but not impossible. Plus, I haven't really spent a lot of time in the Southwest. It swept over the road in a slow arc, its wings stretching wide against the glowing sky. But something about the motion felt wrong. The wings didn't seem like a bird's. They glided with a smooth, unnatural grace. The creature swooped lower, and for a brief moment, the setting sun hit it at just the right angle. And what I saw made my stomach drop. The wings were feathered, but the body was too long, too thick to belong to a bird. And the head wasn't avian at all. It was human. Not entirely, more like the elongated silhouette of a woman's face, mixed with an owl. The eyes were enormous and glistening white against the sky. It was La Lechuza. I had read the warnings only once years ago when I fell down a rabbit hole of borderland folklore. Witches who sold their souls for revenge or power. Women who transformed into giant owls with human faces hunting those who wronged them. Or anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. No one saw them without being marked, and no one heard their call without inviting death. I had laughed it off at the time, but now watching that impossible creature glide silently above the desert, I understood why entire generations feared her. As soon as we passed, beneath the shadow, the air in the car felt thicker. I felt as though something cold had entered the car. I didn't say anything to Paulo. I didn't even need to. She'd grown up hearing the stories about what flew in the desert at night. She knew exactly what we had seen. The creature didn't vanish. Instead, it followed us. Not close enough to attack, just close enough to watch. I could feel her gaze heavy and deliberate, like the sensation of someone gazing over your shoulder. And every instinct screamed to get inside, anywhere with walls. But the road stretched on through miles of open desert. There was nowhere to go. By the time we reached Paula's house again, the sky had turned a deep violet. The creature had disappeared somewhere behind the mountains, but the sense of being followed clung to me. Paula tried to shake it off, acting like nothing was wrong, but I could see it in the stiffness of her posture and the way she double-latched the door behind us. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I laid awake listening to the desert breathe, to the wind pushing against the corners of the house. Every sound felt amplified. The tick of the ceiling fan, the low groan of the water heater, even the shifting of my own blankets sounded loud. But then the wind stopped abruptly, leaving a silence. And then a moment later, something tapped on the window. Not softly, more like the sharp rap of a bone knocking against glass. I laid there frozen, staring into the darkness, and the tapping came again, accompanied by a soft rustle. And then a shadow passed over the blinds, wide and unmistakably winged. I forced myself to move, to sit up, and to steady my breath. Every instinct told me that if I opened those blinds and I saw her face staring back at me, I'd probably never recover from it. But curiosity has always been my undoing. Slowly, I approached the window. My hand trembled as I reached for the cord. Before I could touch it, the tapping stopped. The shadow lifted and the rustling wings receded into nothing. I stayed awake until dawn, sitting cross-legged on the floor, never once taking my eyes off that window. The next morning, Paula refused to talk about the night. She brushed it off, acted like it was no big deal. But I didn't believe her. I could see the exhaustion in her eyes and the way she avoided looking at the window. she was scared too. We tried spending the day in town, hoping crowds would make us feel safer. But by the time late afternoon rolled around, the tension had reached a point where we were both riddled with anxiety. Paula eventually admitted that she had heard the tapping too. She had ignored it out of fear of acknowledging it. Because acknowledgement in folklore grants it power. Still, the creature had already marked us. That evening, Paula suggested we stay somewhere else, anywhere else. A hotel downtown, a friend's couch, even her cousin's ranch on the outskirts of Las Cruces. She didn't care as long as we weren't at her house. She said the air felt wrong there, and I agreed instantly. We gathered our bags quickly, barely speaking. I stepped outside first, and I felt the dry heat of dusk wrap around me like a thin blanket. The desert stretched silently in all directions, the sun sinking behind the mountains. And for a moment, I allowed myself to believe that we had beaten her. That the creature wouldn't strike in daylight, and that leaving the property meant breaking whatever hold she had formed. Thank you, Joker. But then I saw the feathers. Right there on the hood of Paula's car. 3 long feathers, each one curved slightly. They glistened in the setting sun. I reached out and I touched one. Cold rushed through my hand, and the moment I touched the feather, the desert's silence deepened. Somewhere far off, a single coyote called out in a short, abrupt yip, and then nothing. Paula whispered for me to get in the car. She shoved the key into the ignition, and the car sputtered to life. I clutched the feathers, unable to let them go, even though every instinct told me I should. We pulled out of the driveway just as the first shadow moved across the sand. And then I saw it out of the corner of my eye. A swift gliding shape, cutting through the air with impossible speed. The sun had almost vanished behind the mountains, turning the sky a bruised red and purple. Against that backdrop, the creature's silhouette stood out clearly. Massive wings, a long contorted body, and that awful, uncanny face. Half woman, half owl, fully monstrous. Thank you, JJ, that was so cute. La Lechuza had been waiting for us to step outside. She swooped low, trailing her shadow across the road. And the car shuddered as though it had been struck by a heavy fist. But Paulo floored the gas, the tires kicking up dust and gravel. I twisted in my seat, watching her circle overhead. And she tilted her head unnaturally like an owl, her eyes reflecting the last sliver of light in a way that made them appear hollow. We had entered her hunting ground. We had wandered into her territory. Once we reached the freeway, I thought maybe we had escaped. The open road, the bright lights of the city growing larger, surely she wouldn't follow us to civilization, right? But as we reached the first street lamps, I saw her again, perched on the highway sign like a grotesque guardian, wings folded neatly, face staring directly at our car. She watched us pass beneath her with a stillness. When we reached downtown, Paulo parked the car in a garage near a hotel, and we checked in quickly and we locked ourselves inside a 9th floor room. That night, as the city buzzed beneath us, the wind rose subtly, brushing against the window. I tried to distract myself with TV, but the screen kept flickering. It was windy and the power was struggling. The lights dimmed once and then twice, and then the room went utterly silent. The hum of the air conditioner vanished, and the buzz of the lights from the hallway even disappeared. Even the distant sound of cars seemed to fade into nothing. Then the air in the room grew thick and suffocating. And then came the scraping. Slow, methodical, right outside the window. 9 floors up. I turned my head slowly, terrified of what I might see, but also terrified of missing it. A shadow passed over the curtains. My pulse hammered in my throat, and the scraping grew louder, like talons dragging across metal. I approached the window, drawn by a mixture of terror and fascination. I knew I shouldn't look, but I had to understand why she followed us. I reached the window and my fingers curled around the edge of the curtain. And then I pulled the curtain back. And she wasn't on the windowsill. She wasn't clinging to the glass. She wasn't perched on the ledge like a gargoyle. No, she was hovering. Wings spread wide, body suspended in defiance of physics. And her eyes locked directly on me. Her face, a horrifying fusion of woman and owl, shifted subtly as though she was studying me. And then she lifted one claw with something dangling from it. An object so small and ordinary it took me a moment to recognize it. It was one of the feathers that I had thrown out the window from Paulo's car. She held it toward the window deliberately, almost offering it to me. And then she pressed it against the glass. And then I realized she had followed us because we stepped into her shadow when she was hunting. And now she thought we belonged to her. I stumbled backward, the room spinning, and Paulo grabbed my arm. Lala Chusa watched me silently. She didn't blink, she didn't breathe. She just simply hovered there, waiting. I didn't know what she wanted or how to break the curse that she'd marked us with. But I understood one thing with absolute clarity. You don't escape a witch owl by running. You escape her by paying whatever debt she believes you owe. And I still don't know what I owe. But I know that someday she will come back to collect. And that's the tale of Lala Chusa. Yes, a bruja for sure. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Sparkle. You like that? Welcome in, everybody. If you're new here, my name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. I am here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. I do write and record all these stories myself, and they are available on my YT channel as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. Sarah, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the porch. And thank you, Pixie Cat. I'm glad you liked it. Thanks, Sparkle Tree. I'm glad you loved it. And I'm going to set up the next poll for us to vote. And if you guys would do me a big favor, if you could hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs and helps us grow this beautiful porch of ours. Okay, Lola, good luck tomorrow. I love you. Get some sleep. Sweet dreams. Good, Carmen. That's the whole point. Thank you, Mary. Well, she was chasing us, so I panicked and threw the feather out the window because I thought she wanted her feathers back. But instead, she was offended. Her feelings were hurt. She was like, I was just trying to give you some damn feathers. Thanks, Dina. Thanks for being here. Hi, Callie girl. Welcome in. And yes, if you're just joining us, I'm just setting up the next poll for us to vote for the next story. So welcome in. Right, Millie? I feel like fear can make you panic. Thank you, Spiker Mom. Thank you, Sandy Bear. Hi, Ian. Okay, so the next poll is ready. We have the Goat Man versus the Fresno Nightcrawlers, which is this week's new story, versus Whistler's Hollow, versus the Hitchhiker, versus the Puckwudgies. And if you're on TT, you can vote in the top left-hand corner in the blue box. And you can vote up to 50 times. And you can vote for more than one story at a time. Hi, Tara. And you're absolutely right. And Rochelle, you're totally right. Hi, Lady Flower. Or beautiful flower, Lady Rose. Hi, Lady Rose. Who's it gonna be? It's Fresno Nightcrawlers versus Goat Man right now. Neck and neck. Well, get it? The Fresno Nightcrawlers don't really have a neck, so never mind. I love that, Lady Rose. Oh my goodness. Now it's Fresno Nightcrawlers versus Whistler's Hollow. Goatman's been left behind. And the Puckwudgies, no one cares about the Puckwudgies. Those little creepers. A rock band, Reverend. All right. That was an intense one, you guys. I wasn't even sure who was going to win. Did you guys think? Who did you think? Because the winner is the haunted pajama pants themselves. The walking pants of the night. The Fresno Nightcrawlers. Mwah. So, grab a beanbag chair. Grab a hammock. Sit back and relax. And welcome to the porch. And as I always say, there is always room for one more on the porch. And if you feel like inviting one more, feel free to hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner. And then hit that yellow circle that says repost, and that puts my live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow this really cool porch. You can also undo it and redo it throughout the night if you want to, like, I don't know, recharge the algorithm or something. Oh, I'm sorry, Leans. That sucks. Aw, Thay isn't feeling well. Tell her we hope she feels better. All right, I'll be right back with the Fresno Nightcrawlers, those little creepy crawlers. Hi, Leslie. Oh my gosh, Leslie, that's horrifying. Don't worry, Suzanne. The Nightcrawlers are going to be in the Cryptid Arcana. They're going to get their own merch. I just haven't made it yet. But they are getting their own merch this week, and they will have stickers. Don't you worry. And can anybody guess which major arcana archetype or card the Nightcrawlers are going to be? Can anybody guess? Yeah, Brooke, Thay doesn't feel good tonight. Thank you for the hand hearts, Jess. Hi, Mackenzie. Thank you, Speedia, or Speedy. Also, thank you to everybody who's tapping the screen. It does make a huge difference. So thank you for tapping. It's free. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Kathy. Hi, Ashley. Welcome back. Good night, Ian. Sweet dreams. Love ya. Talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, C, for subscribing. Welcome to the porch. I'm so excited you're here. Ashley, is it your birthday? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ashley. Hi, Yaya. It's Ashley's birthday. Happy birthday, gorgeous. Everybody wish Ashley a happy birthday. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society, this is the tale of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. There are some cryptids that look like they were designed by ancient fear. Creatures with claws and teeth. Things that make instinctive sense to be afraid of. And then there's the Fresno Nightcrawlers. 2 white legs. That is the only way anyone ever really describes them. Just legs. No visible arms. No clear torso. No obvious anatomy that should logically allow them to exist. They look less like living creatures and more like someone draped white sheets over stilts and taught them how to walk. Which somehow makes them worse. Because monsters are easier to process when they resemble something alive. The Fresno Nightcrawlers do not. They move wrong. They stand wrong. They occupy space wrong. And maybe that's why their footage has unsettled people for decades. The modern legend began in Fresno, California in the early 2000s, when a homeowner's security camera captured 2 pale leg-like figures gliding across his front lawn in the middle of the night. One appeared taller than the other, moving with a slow, deliberate gait, almost like a parent leading a child. The footage spread online and was initially dismissed as a hoax, but nobody could ever conclusively explain how it had been faked, especially not with the technology available to the average homeowner at the time. Indigenous Yokuts folklore of Central California allegedly includes stories of pale, wandering beings associated with the night and with the balance between nature and man. While documentation is sparse and some dispute whether the Fresno creatures truly connect to that folklore, the association stuck. And people began claiming the beings were ancient watchers. And then more footage appeared. Not much, never enough to prove anything, just enough to make the whole thing harder to dismiss. A blurry security camera in Yosemite, a ranch camera somewhere outside Fresno's, caught a strange silhouette crossing a road in the distance. Always the same impossible movement, always the same gliding gait, and always gone before anyone got close. Good night, Lorna. Most people treat the Fresno Nightcrawlers like a joke, cryptid. Cute, goofy, and harmless. But I think that's because people have never had to see one in person. And I wish I could go back to the version of myself that thought they were funny. Because Suzanne used to laugh every time I brought them up. And now we don't laugh. Suzanne lives outside Fresno in one of those strange in-between parts of California, where suburbia frays into orchards and scrubland and old irrigation roads. Not quite city, but not quite country. The sort of place where neighborhoods end abruptly and miles of dark open land begin. She had moved there for work the year before I visited. Suzanne's house sat at the edge of a newer development, the last row before the land gave way to empty fields and a dry creek bed. The first night there, she jokingly pointed through her kitchen window toward the darkness behind her fence and told me that was prime Nightcrawler territory. I laughed, because that's what you do when discussing giant walking pants in the dark. But then she hesitated and she admitted that several people in the neighborhood had posted odd security clips in the local FB groups. Nothing definitive though. Just strange movement in the distance. Weird, pale shapes near fences. Things caught for one frame and then gone. But she just treated it like neighborhood folklore. But she did admit that people had stopped letting their dogs out alone at night. That first evening, we sat on her back patio with drinks while the sun disappeared over the fields. No streetlights, no structures. Just the occasional silhouette of distant trees and the soft metallic creaking of irrigation equipment somewhere far off in the dark. Suzanne told me the neighborhood had a recurring problem with pets disappearing. Coyotes, supposedly. But nobody ever found remains. Still, nothing happened that night or the next. The first few days of the trip were normal, touristy, fun, and harmless. But then on the fourth night, Suzanne woke me just after 2 a.m. Her face was pale, and she held her phone toward me without speaking. Her backyard motion alert had triggered, and the camera feed showed her patio empty. Fence still, nothing moving. Then, at the far back corner of the yard, near the fence gate, something pale stepped into frame. At first, my brain rejected what I was seeing. It looked like 2 white columns moving independently. But then the shape advanced further into the infrared glow, and I realized it was exactly what everyone described. A creature, perhaps 4 feet tall. Long white legs, a small tapering upper body like folded cloth. No visible arms, and it walked with that horrible smooth gait that I had seen in the videos 100 times. Like gravity affected it differently. And it crossed the yard in total silence, and then it slipped out of frame. Neither of us moved, neither of us spoke, and then the camera alert ended. We replayed it 3 times, and each viewing made it worse. Because no matter how long we stared, we couldn't figure out how it could physically move that way. I asked if we should call the police, but even saying it sounded absurd. What would we tell them? Hello, 911. Yeah, there's a pair of haunted pajama pants walking through my backyard. Instead, we just stayed awake until dawn, with every light in the house on. The next morning, we checked the yard. Nothing. No footprints. No disturbed dirt. No damage. But near the fence gate, we found one thing. A line of dead flowers. Not wilted, dead. Every blossom along one narrow strip of Suzanne's flower bed had turned black and collapsed, as if it was flash frozen. She swore that they had been healthy the day before. And then we made the worst possible decision. The one people in horror movies always make. We went looking for it. Suzanne had a friend whose uncle owned farmland several miles outside of town, near where one of the earliest Fresno Nightcrawler sightings supposedly occurred. I told him about my Porch Lore podcast, and he said that we could come walk the land and check things out. We arrived just before dusk. The land stretched flat and golden for miles. Dry grass, abandoned irrigation ditches, twisted valley oaks. The kind of place where the distance plays tricks on your eyes. We brought flashlights, cameras, snacks, and the brittle confidence of people who still partially believed none of this was real. By midnight, we had seen nothing. We sat near an old pump shed laughing at ourselves. We are grown women, and this is ridiculous. But then, every cricket stopped instantly. No gradual fade, no natural hush, 1 second noise, the next, complete silence. And then movement caught my eye near the far fence line. At first, I thought someone had placed a white trash bag in the field, but then it moved. One shape and then another, and then a third. 3 pale figures emerged from the grass, different sizes, walking slowly toward us, each gliding with that same impossible gait. The tallest had to be nearly 6 feet, the smallest perhaps 3. They looked like a family. That thought hit me first. They weren't some random creatures, they were a family. The figures approached without hurry, no sound. No signs of awareness except that every step carried them directly toward us. We backed toward the pump shed, and the tallest one stopped maybe 30 feet away. The others spread out, forming a half circle. My chest tightened so hard that I thought I might black out. And then, the tall one bent, not crouched, but bent, and its entire upper body unfolded open, like cloth parting in the wind. And underneath, there was a face, pale and stretched, featureless except for a wide mouth and eyes that looked sewn shut beneath translucent skin. Thank you, Mama Bear. Thank you, Paul. Suzanne screamed, and that broke whatever paralysis held me. And then we ran. I don't remember half of the sprint. The truck was nearly a quarter mile away, and we heard nothing behind us. No footsteps, no pursuit. We assumed they were just gliding silently behind us. I didn't dare look back. But instead, they simply let us run. We got to the truck, out of breath, our hearts racing. Suzanne fumbled the keys twice before getting us inside. And then we peeled out of there, throwing gravel. Neither of us spoke the entire drive home. And after some more research, I read that several indigenous stories described pale wandering spirits who appeared when the land itself had been violated. Guardians of sacred places that have been twisted by human greed and expansion. Not hunters, not predators, judges. We built houses where they used to walk. Suzanne's neighborhood, that development, built over old protected land that had been bulldozed during expansion despite protests from preservation groups. Her house stood at the edge of it, right where the field began. Some things don't haunt us because they are evil. Some things haunt us because we forget that we are the ones trespassing. Some things haunt us because, to them, we are the evil. So, if you ever find yourself driving outside Fresno late at night, past the orchards, past the neighborhoods, where the dark opens wide and endless, and you see something white crossing the field in your headlights, don't follow it. Just keep driving. And that's the tale of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. If you're new here, welcome in. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. I am here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. I do write and record all of these stories myself, and you can find them on my YT channel as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you'll find me. Thank you, Mackenzie, for the hand hearts. Thank you, Paul, for the hand hearts. Thank you, Sarah, for the populars and the cozy cryptids. And Mama Bear, thanks for the cozy cryptids. Sarah, you too. And thank you, Millie, for the cozy cryptids. And Mackenzie. Your merch shipped, Rochelle? Hell yes. I'm so excited. Mine's shipped too. I'm excited. And if you guys are interested in checking out the merch, it is very cute. You don't have to buy anything, but it's very cute and fun. And a lot of the stories and inside jokes are included in there. And it's become a passion project for me. So feel free to check it out. The top banner. Oh, I don't even have the other one up right now. The top banner shows the site. And the links are also in my bio if you want to check it out. You won't regret it. You don't have to buy anything. Just check it out. You'll get a nice laugh. Thank you, Sparkles. I appreciate that. So, how's everybody's week going? Happy Thursday. All right, you guys. I'm going to set up the next poll for us to vote. And while I do that, feel free to share out the live. Hit that share arrow. And the yellow circle with the two arrows chasing each other says repost. That puts my live into your friends' FYPs and it helps us grow this beautiful porch. Thank you, Michael, for all the hand hearts. I appreciate that so much. And Mama Bear, thank you for the cozy cryptids. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the support. All right, I'll be right back with the next poll. And grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock. Sit back and relax, and welcome to the porch. And as I always say, there is always room for one more on the porch. I mean, CJ, that's just a simple rule of life because rappers are philosophers, and it's true. Don't start no shit, there won't be no shit. It's really just as simple as that. Little Scrappy knew exactly what he was talking about. Okay, guys. Oh, the next poll's under review. It does that sometimes. Just gotta wait a little bit. Just a few seconds, and then it'll prove it. Welcome to the porch, everybody. If you like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, anything like that, you are in the right place. And thank you to the Porch Pals who continue to write keywords in the chat throughout the night. It helps the algorithm scan and figure out what this live is about, like Goatman, Mothman, Sasquatch, paranormal, supernatural, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, storytelling, ASMR. Any of those things helps a lot. Hi, Epic. Just waiting for the poll to stop being under review, and then we can vote. So glad you made it too, Holly. Hi, Priscilla. Hi, Amanda. I know they've never made a poll under review this long. Like, hello. Okay, you guys, it's still under review. Come on, TikTok. What are you doing? It's never taken this long. That's so weird. Like, hello. Yeah, maybe code red. Oh, goodness. Well, if it doesn't respond soon, I'll just trash it and try a new one. Because you can, like, delete them and try again. I've never done that, but... yeah, like, seriously. Right, Lee? Okay, I just deleted it, you guys, and I'm just gonna redo it. Okay, because it like has never taken that long. So 1 second, I have to redo the poll. Sorry. Okay, and that time it was just approved for no reason with the same exact shit. This app, I swear to God. Okay, anyway, here we go. We got the Sasquatch Stalker. Highway 13, which is a reworking of an Are You Afraid of the Dark story. The Selkies, the Hitchhiker, and the Kentucky Goblins. You can vote in the top left-hand corner if you're on TT. There's a blue box, and you can vote up to 50 times a person. And you can vote for more than one story. Who's it gonna be? Decaption, TT's wonky every single day. Every single day. The Selkies are gonna be pissed. They have 0 votes. They're gonna come get y'all. Poor Selkies. Okay, and the winner is Highway 13, which is the Are You Afraid of the Dark reworking. Give me a minute to set that up, and I will be right back with the tale of Highway 13. Grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, sit back and relax, and welcome to the porch. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Chris. Welcome in, Chris. Thanks, Rebecca. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of Highway 13. This story is about secondhand things. Not thrift store jackets or hand-me-down furniture. Those were harmless. This was about the other kind of secondhand. The kind that carried history soaked deep into the seams. The kind that came with consequences you didn't agree to, but you inherit anyway. Because sometimes when you take something used, you also take whatever unfinished business it still has clinging to it. Evan and Marcus had been friends for almost 20 years. College roommates turned business partners. Evan was steady, cautious, the kind of man who read contracts twice and drove 5 miles under the speed limit. Marcus lived faster. He believed in instinct, impulse, gut decisions made at full throttle. And somehow, their friendship survived the imbalance. It was Marcus who found the car. They were at a liquidation auction on the edge of town. The kind held in abandoned lots where bank seized property sat under buzzing floodlights. Thank you, Tracy. Most of the inventory was boring. Filing cabinets, outdated computers. But then there was the car. A black 1970s muscle coupe, low to the ground, long hood with aggressive lines. It didn't look wrecked. It didn't look salvaged. It looked intact. almost too intact. Thank you, Auntiana. Thank you, Esmeralda. The paperwork listed it as impounded property recovered after an unresolved fatality case. No next of kin had claimed it. And that should have been enough to walk away, but Marcus didn't. He saw potential. He saw power. He saw freedom. But Evan saw trouble. Marcus was already circling it, already picturing himself behind the wheel. He talked about flipping it, restoring it, selling it to a collector. Big profit, quick turnaround. Evan knew Marcus's version of quick usually meant reckless, but they ended up buying it anyway. The first strange thing wasn't mechanical. The engine purred beautifully. No grinding, no knocks. No red flags under the hood. It ran like it had never been abandoned. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Robin. The strange thing was the smell. Not rot, not mildew. It smelled like burned rubber. Marcus insisted on taking it out that same evening. Just a short drive, just to feel it. Evan reluctantly agreed to ride along. They didn't plan to take Highway 13. Highway 13 had a reputation. A narrow 2-lane stretch that cut through marshland outside the city. Long curves, poor lighting. More roadside memorial crosses than mile markers. Locals said the fog rolled in fast there, even when the rest of the county was clear. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Wookie. They ended up there on accident. At least, that's what Marcus claimed. And the fog began gradually. A thin haze at first, then denser, then thick enough that the world beyond the headlights dissolved into a blanket of gray. The radio flickered with static, and Evan told Marcus to turn around. But Marcus laughed it off. And then the truck appeared. Just matte darkness and 2 pale headlights cutting through the fog. They hadn't been there a second earlier. Marcus sped up and the truck matched him. Then Marcus slowed down and the truck slowed. The fog thickened until the world felt enclosed and sealed off from everything beyond that stretch of pavement. Then the road sign emerged ahead. Bridge, 1 lane. Evan's stomach dropped. The truck's engine roared louder. And Marcus's expression shifted, not fear exactly, but something competitive, something provoked. Thank you, Michael. The truck surged forward, just enough to threaten their lane. And it became clear very quickly that this was not random traffic behavior. This was a challenge. Evan told Marcus to pull over and to let it pass, but Marcus refused. The bridge loomed ahead, narrow and old. Steel railings rusted through in places. There was not enough room for 2 vehicles. And then the truck accelerated. and Marcus did too. As they neared the bridge, Evan noticed something in the reflection of the windshield. It was two faint silhouettes in the back seat. Passengers. Figures barely visible as if lit from within by dim gray light. Two young men, silent and watching. Marcus pushed harder on the accelerator, and the truck's horn blared long and furious. They reached the mouth of the bridge at the same time. Evan braced for impact, but Marcus hesitated, just for a fraction of a second, and in that second something shifted. Marcus slammed on the brakes, and the truck did not. It passed right through them. Not around, through. Metal met metal in a burst of white noise and impossible physics. But instead of crushing steel, the truck dissolved into mist as it tore across the hood. And then the bridge was suddenly empty. The fog thinned, and the engine idled softly as if nothing had happened. In the rearview mirror, the silhouettes of the two young men were gone. Marcus sat frozen, hands locked on the wheel, and Evan realized that this must have happened before. They drove home in silence. The next morning, the car wouldn't start. Not because it was broken, but because it was done. They had it towed back to the impound lot, and they signed it over without even asking for their money back. And the clerk seemed confused, as though she didn't remember auctioning it off in the first place. Weeks later, Evan read an old article buried in digital archives. A fatal collision on Highway 13 decades ago. A young man and his best friend racing an 18-wheeler toward a one-lane bridge. The car lost control and the truck driver survived, but neither of the young men in the car did. Witnesses claim the race is replayed over and over again on really foggy nights. Sometimes, surviving isn't about winning. Sometimes, it's about being mature enough to refuse to even play the game. And that's the tale of Highway 13, and that is an Are You Afraid of the Dark reworking. Thank you, Chris. Oh my God, thanks for the piñata. That's so cute. I've never seen that before. Thanks. Thank you, Michelle. So cute. Oh, Oh, Lily, no, I got that one on YT. I could see it on my YT screen. Thank you, Restrict. I love those paper cranes. Chris, thanks for the cozy cryptids. Hi, Patty. Welcome in. Steve-O, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the porch. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. That's so kind. Good night, April. Sweet dreams. And yes, Wolf King, I think everybody's heard of Route 66 probably. Or Route 66. It's incredibly famous. Oh, cool, Jack. I'll check that out. Never heard of that. Suzanne, it only reminds you of an episode of Supernatural because of the car. There was no episode of Supernatural where they did this. It's just because of the car. Because literally, like, I was surprised almost every single time this story wins. All people do is write how much it looks like Supernatural. And yes, I know it's Root. I already corrected myself. Thank you. Right, Suzanne, it's the car. It's 100% the association to the car. Somebody asked for that as a print. What's his name? So that one's actually available as a print. I can't remember what his name is. Oh yeah, Mace, if you've never seen the series, then yeah, if you've never seen the series. Yeah, but if it was two dudes, Esmeralda, and any other car, you wouldn't associate that. It's just because of the car. Lillian, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the porch. Carbon, of course. Thanks for being here. Oh, thanks, Robin. Yeah. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate that. How are you doing? Mark, it takes, I mean, it has tracking. It emails you constantly, notifies you so you can track it. But it does take a little while. It just depends. Each thing in the item ships separately, so it kind of just depends on what you ordered. Like the stickers are really quick to get, but other things aren't. Also, the song doesn't have a name. It's my own music. It's my licensed background music just for my stories. It has no name. Right, Matt? There's no porch pirates here. Just porch pals. Thanks, Matt. I had to, though. Because everything is so corporate and greedy now. I literally, had to. You know, there was no choice. Audify started removing my episodes. That's why my old stories don't have these songs. They have different songs because I used to be able to find like each song would go with the story. But hi, Jack. Yep, jabronis. So yeah, I appreciate it, but it's like, thanks, Tony. But I only did it because I had to. Otherwise, I would have. But I just got a new program on my new MacBook that I've never played with. It's super old, but of course, like I told you guys, I had such an ancient MacBook. I've never heard of it before, but it's a program to make your own like background music stuff. And so I'm pretty excited because I will be able to make more of my own. I know, Wolfgang, isn't it so funny? Jabronis is so funny. A dead love story? What does that mean? Yeah, Jack, I write all of my stories. Yeah, Rose, most people in here do fall asleep to it. And I have a playlist on my YT called Bedtime Stories, so you can fall asleep to it anytime you want. Uh-oh, James is still tangled in the lights on the railing. Can somebody help him out? Oh my God. 7 bridges in Wisconsin. No, I've never heard of that. I'll have to look it up. Hi, Golden Healer. Thank you, Esmeralda. Nikki, yeah, pretty much, because I had permission from the composer himself who made the music. Literally, like, all I had to do was credit him, and guess what? It doesn't matter because AI bots now scan for music. So they don't scan to see if you have like permission or if it's that they just scan for a license and they go to see if it matches and if it's under your name. It's bullshit. We're being taken over by like robot police. It's crazy. Yep, it's AI. And they can't tell. And the composer was like, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you to take down your I was like, I know. The AI, like the people, it's like policing for people who don't even care. The guy offers his music for free to small creators as long as you credit it. And it still pulled all my shit down when I was like, what? And then they try to appeal it and there's no system. There's no, it didn't. There's like no way to get any response. It's just like the AI is the final say, which is crazy. Crazy. For someone as big as Audify, for the AI just to be the final say, I'm pulling episodes that are like years of work. That's crazy. Yeah, we're living in hell for sure. So then they're policing us here too. So, you know, eventually, Lean, I'd like to. Someday. Yeah, it's wild. So as much as I do love having my own song, it was more like a necessity than anything else because I was not going to just live in fear of AI every episode worrying about the music. I was like, fuck them. Because it's basically Sony and a couple other companies, but it's pretty much Sony. They own like the world's music. And so they're the ones that set it up. So then all of us who aren't using their music just are like unfortunate byproducts of like their greed. Because, you know, they didn't set the AI up to look for like credited in the description, which is what a lot of people who are small creators do until they get bigger, is they credit people in the description. Yeah, Chris, they've done that to me too. It's out of control. They've really taken a lot of liberties with the AI and quickly implementing it without anybody having a say. And it's alarming. Yeah, it's very alarming. Alexa's the least of our problems. Has nothing to do with Alexa. She's just voice activated Google. This is like ones that like shut down your account and remove stuff, and like they are supposed to be making decisions based off of like human logic, but they aren't humans. So they're just like sweepingly restricting, wildly sweeping, removing things. It's a nightmare. And it's like another thing is like we're adults. I'm sorry, but keep your children off the internet if you're going to be so crazy that like you expect the internet to police for them. No, I'm adults, and if I want to send F-bombs to my friend in a DM on TikTok, I should be allowed to do that. I should be allowed to do it on a comment. Keep like, you know, I'm sorry, but maybe tell your kid to go outside. Maybe tell your kid to go touch some grass. And like, we're allowed to have adult spaces. Your kids should not be able to infiltrate every single adult space to where we have to censor ourselves constantly. It's like, Jesus Christ, take the tablets away, dude. Yeah, Nikki. Yeah, they don't let you send, like they, I sent like the F-bomb to my friend in a message, and it stopped me and said, "Are you sure you want to send this message? It could get your account restricted." And I was like, what? It's crazy. Yep. I was like, yeah, I definitely still want to send my friend the F-bomb. It's literally, I'm telling her, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's crazy. Yep. It's crazy. Anyway, you guys know what time it is. Time to pretend we don't live in a 1984 Orwellian dystopian hell, and pretend like we're at the diner. It's grilled cheese time. Jack said peanut butter jelly time. Where at? Yeah, exactly. No, Anna, for what? Were you crafting too hard? Like, because seriously, this app. Yeah. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Say, there you go. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. By the way, guys, Anna's Creations, which is a crafting, she got banned from going live the other night. That's what this app is like now. Crafts. For having her child in the video of her crafting. Good night, Lily. Yeah, Matt, for shame. I don't know what the baseball bat meant, but why was a banana doing the dance? None of it made any sense. It's provocative. Nobody knows what it means. I hope somebody got my Will Ferrell quote. Somebody please say you got the... Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. Michelle, that turtle drinking water is so funny. All right, guys, I will be right back with the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. So grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, sit back and relax, and welcome to the porch. By the way, it's officially Friday for the East Coast. Misty, thank you for the tiny dandelion. I love that he blows the dandelion and then he watches it blow away, all like sentimental, like, God, that's pretty. The way he watches it blow away is so cute. And yes, Nikki, last spooky story of the night. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pals Society. This is the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. Good night, Paloma. Sweet dreams. I'm not usually the kind of person who pulls over on back roads at night. Not unless I absolutely have to. But that night, something about the storm, the long drive, and that growling pit in my stomach convinced me otherwise. I was hungry. Thank you, John. It was late October, and I was headed back to campus after a weekend visit with my friends in North Carolina. I had a midterm on Monday, and my plan had been to drive straight through, 5 hours, no stops. But then came the rain. One of those cold, slanted, whispery rains that creeps into your bones and makes the windshield wipers sound like a heartbeat. I had taken the wrong exit, trying to bypass traffic, and I ended up on a 2-lane back road, surrounded by nothing but pine trees and power lines. And that's when I saw the neon sign. Sycamore Diner. The O in Sycamore was flickering like it hadn't worked right in years. But the rest was lit up in a cherry red neon. A tiny beacon in the middle of nowhere. I figured I'd grab a quick bite, maybe some coffee, check my map and get back on the highway. But I should have just kept driving. I should have known something was off the second I stepped inside. The bell over the door jingled, but not like a normal bell. It made this sharp metallic ping that echoed longer than it should have. The air inside was warm, almost too warm, and it smelled like grilled onions and pancake syrup. The place looked like it had been yanked straight from 1957. Checkerboard floor, red vinyl booths, all on counter with spinning stools. Even a jukebox in the corner that looked like it hadn't worked in decades. And the people? They all stopped and looked at me the second I walked in. Not in a rude way, just quiet, like they weren't expecting me. Like I had walked into the middle of a sentence that no one wanted to finish. A waitress, tall with a beehive hairdo and a light blue uniform, smiled and waved me over. "You get caught in the rain, sweetheart," she said, handing me a laminated menu. I nodded, still trying to shake off that weird feeling. "Thank you, Jen." "Yeah, the highway's a mess." She chuckled and patted my shoulder. "Well, you're safe here. Sycamore's always open for travelers." I sat down at a corner booth. The vinyl creaked. I remember the jukebox shifted songs by itself and started playing some slow doo-wop ballad that I didn't recognize. I looked around and everyone looked, normal. Sort of. There was a trucker with a thick gray beard drinking coffee at the counter. A young couple whispering to each other in a booth by the jukebox. And an older woman stirring tea like she was lost in thought. But they all had the same look in their eyes, like they were there but also somewhere else. Like they were watching me out of the corner of their eye even when they were looking down. The waitress came back with coffee, strong, hot, and surprisingly good. And I ordered a grilled cheese with fries. Simple, safe. She wrote it down with one of those clicky pens and said, "Don't worry, it's on the house tonight." And that was my second red flag. No diner just gives food away. While I waited, I took out my phone to check the map. No signal, and I mean nothing. No bars, no Wi-Fi, not even GPS. Just a blank screen with a spinning wheel. I glanced out the foggy window and the storm was still going. But now, the wind had picked up. I could see the power lines swaying like jump ropes in the dark. But the diner stayed perfectly lit. Not even a flicker. The food came fast. Too fast, like under 5 minutes. But it looked amazing. Golden bread, gooey cheese, crispy fries with a little metal cup of ketchup on the side. I took a bite. Delicious. I mean, I've eaten at a lot of diners, greasy spoons, college joints, and roadside shacks. But this was hands down the best grilled cheese I've ever had. The fries were perfect. And the coffee never ran out. Every time I took a sip, it was somehow full again. I was halfway through the sandwich when the trucker got up to leave. He walked right past my table, nodded once and whispered, "Don't stay past midnight." That's all he said, just that. I blinked. What? But he was already out the door. The waitress gave me a tight smile and walked over, collecting his empty mug. Old Earl, he's always saying weird stuff, just ignore him. But I couldn't. Something about his voice stuck with me. Something about the way he looked at me. Not like I was a customer, but like I was in danger. I checked the clock over the register. 11:42. I figured I had just enough time to finish my fries, grab the check, and head out. I still had at least 3 hours left on the road. But when I stood up, the lights flickered. Just once, and then again. And then everything in the diner stopped moving. The couple by the jukebox froze mid-sentence. The woman with the tea stopped stirring, her spoon hanging in midair. The waitress, her hand reached out for a mug, just stopped. Like someone hit pause on the entire scene. I took a step back and the jukebox buzzed, glitched, and restarted a new track. I could still move, but no one else could. And then I heard it. Not music, not a storm. A voice. Not coming from anyone I could see. Just a whisper that seemed to echo from the walls themselves. I backed toward the door, heart hammering in my chest, and I turned the knob. Locked. Of course it was locked. I tried the windows, but they were sealed shut. I started banging on the glass and shouting, but no one was outside. Just the wind and the rain, and that flickering red sign. Sycamore. I turned back toward the dining room, and everyone was gone. Not frozen anymore, just gone. The booths were empty. No plates, no crumbs, no mugs. No sign that anyone had ever even been there. Except for my plate, still warm and still half-eaten. And then I saw the waitress. She was standing by the kitchen doors, her silhouette backlit by flickering fluorescent light. Her face was wrong. The same smile, but her eyes were empty, black and endless, like someone had painted over them. "You shouldn't be here, honey," she said in that same cheerful voice. "Not yet." I stumbled back, knocking over a chair as she took one slow step toward me. "The others, they were waiting, but you just wandered in." She raised a hand and the walls began to shimmer. Literally shimmer like heat waves on asphalt. The checkered floor rippled and the red booths started to fade, becoming outlines and then shadows and then nothing. And then I saw it. Underneath the illusion. It was charred wood, cracked tile, broken beams, and black soot. Like the diner had burned down long ago. I ran. I don't even remember how I got out. One second I was on the side of the road, and the next I was soaked to the bone and gasping for air. My car was still there, parked on gravel that didn't even look like a lot anymore. Just weeds and puddles. No neon sign, no glowing windows, just nothing. I drove back to campus that night in silence. No music, no Porch Lore podcast. I kept glancing in the rear view mirror, half expecting to see that red neon flicker back to life. I didn't tell anyone, not for weeks. Not until I finally looked up Sycamore Diner on a local history site. And I found it. Burned to the ground in 1972. a gas leak. The whole place went up at midnight, and everyone inside was killed. 5 patrons, a waitress, and a cook. The photo in the article: the same checkerboard floor, the same red booths, the same neon sign. Sycamore. And in the corner of the photo, that same waitress, smiling. I never took that back road again. I don't even drive at night anymore if I can help it. And every time I see a neon diner sign, something in me flinches just a little. Because I know I was there. And I know I wasn't supposed to be. But the part that keeps me up sometimes, the part that really makes my stomach turn, that was the best damn grilled cheese I've ever had. And I didn't even pay for it. And that's the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. And with that, good night, Porch Pals. I love you guys very much. I will see you guys again tomorrow at 10 p.m. Same place, same time. And it'll be Friday. I hope you guys get some lovely sleep. And if you don't, head on over to my YT channel and check out the Bedtime Stories playlist. And you will fall right asleep. Thank you for being here and spending your evening with me, guys. I love spending the evenings with you. And I hope you guys get some wonderful sleep, have some good dreams, and don't forget, stay spooky.